Welcome to the Dreamers Hub podcast.
We can be whatever we dream.
This podcast is about collaboration between the dreamers and the doers to inspire more people to do more of the things they enjoy doing.
When you do what you love, you achieve so much more with your life.
So if you're into real people having some raw, unapologetic conversations, let's catch a vibe.
Today is your day.
And now, Nettie.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Dreamers Hub podcast. And yes, we are here with another episode. I don't even know what episode number this is. Maybe 7 or 8, one of those two. Real quick, I got some shit to get off my chest, and today is a special day for me. I woke up, this morning, and I'm like, damn, I gotta post something. And I was like, okay, what am I gonna post? What's the date? And sometimes I'll look at the calendar and see what's popping today, if there's any things that the calendar brings up that I might be able to write about. And even though I batch some of my content in advance, it's mainly just taking the pictures. I never really read out the captions before because I just don't know how I'm going to feel the day of. And I try to make my Instagram as personable as possible, as transparent as possible. And so I started writing. I started realizing what day it was today. And it's a monumental day for me. It's a big moment for me today because of where I was at last year, this day today. Today is the anniversary of me moving into this space where I'm recording at. And I kind of wanted to go over just what this day means to me. Yes, I wrote a little bit about it on Instagram, which if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen the post. But this episode specifically is just mainly going to reflect in depth about that post. And so I want to kind of go back to that moment of where I was at on this day, what I was feeling that day, and the fucking emotional roller coaster I was on this day last year, October 29th, 2020. I want to read to you what I wrote, the caption that I wrote, because then we're going to dive deep into that caption, and I'm going to break down how everything went that day in depth, and just that emotion that I felt. So this is what I typed up. And again, this is sometimes I'll type my captions in the morning because that's the moment of me reflecting. I do a little bit of meditating sometimes, or I'll just wake up and think about what kind of day I want to have today. What's the date today? What can I reflect on? I'll just have little moments to myself like that, And so when I woke up and realized what day it was, off bat, I was immediately reflecting, right? Immediately reflecting, and immediately just damn, how do I feel today? And I have flashbacks of what it was like, and it's low key a traumatic experience. Life happens, and sometimes it traumatizes you a little bit. Sometimes it it does things to you where you're just damn, is this a lesson I was supposed to learn? So this is what I wrote. A year ago today, I was completing my second drive back to San Diego with all my shit packed in the U-Haul, with no sleep in 24 hours due to complications with U-Haul reservations. I was moving into my current spot, which I had only seen through FaceTime. After unloading, I packed a weekend bag and headed to a weekend in Rosarito. I'll never forget the roller coaster of emotions I was on this day. Breaking off an almost 4-year relationship, selling my home in less than 30 days, moving out, giving away old keys and receiving new keys, transferring jobs and saying goodbye to the friends I had made in Bakersfield, moving back home and saying hello to my friends again in San Diego, seeing my new spot for the first time, to packing a weekend bag to celebrate my friends getting married, my first weekend back. That day, I learned just how strong and powerful I was. To anyone going through it right now, don't let any person or any situation make you feel less than. You are who you need to be in every moment, and every moment is bringing you closer to who you are about to become. Trust. That's just deep, dog. That's just deep, and it's deep to me, and it means a lot to me because it really very much was the day I learned just how powerful I was. I know life happens, and everybody has their own shit happening and going on, Everybody has their own individual battles and demons. But for me, this day, it was just crazy to me to have to go through 24 hours of no sleep and having to move because U-Haul, for whatever reason, canceled my reservation, let somebody else take the truck. It's 7 p.m. the night before I'm supposed to be completely moved out to turn in the keys. It's the 28th of October, 2020. I show up to U-Haul, 7 p.m. with my friend Boots, shout out, aka Bianca, who had drove from San Diego to help me drive the truck back and pack also. And so for whatever reason, the reservation didn't go through. And what ended up happening is I didn't get a truck, right? Because I was adamant, like, I have to be out. How am I going to get all my shit out of my place into my new place on the day and clean up the house on the day that I'm supposed to turn in keys? Like, what the fuck? So what do? Go into like survival mode to the fullest for the next 24 hours of just from that moment, like just survival mode. I'm like, I gotta figure this out. Jump on the phone back with U-Haul, because by this time I had called other places, Budget or whatever the other places are. Nobody had anything, and or if I found one, it was like $2,400 for one night. I'm like, I ain't got that kind of money. Anyway, got on the phone with U-Haul and got an angel of a customer service rep. He stayed on the phone with me for like 3 hours until we found a truck. I ended up having to drive a little bit further to pick it up. And I don't know, he made it happen. And we didn't get the truck till like 11 p.m. on the 28th. Loaded up the truck. Shout out to my friend Carlos, who lives up in Bakersfield. It was him, Bianca, and me loading up the entire house. It's a 3-bedroom house plus the garage, right? The gym equipment into the U-Haul. We didn't finish loading the truck till like midnight, 12:30. Drove down to San Diego, unloaded. We got down to San Diego at 4 a.m. And at this point, it's just me and Boots, right? Unloading into the garage. Mind you, this is the very first time I've seen the apartment or I ever stepped foot in the apartment, because obviously it was COVID. So I was in Bakersfield. It's like almost 4 hours away from San Diego. There was no way between handling whatever I had to handle up there that I was going to be able to see the apartment. So shout out to Margot, which is who I live with, aka my best friend. She was the one scouting the places. So all I knew is we had signed the lease on this place and that it was cute, and we both agreed to it. So I signed the paperwork via DocuSign or whatever before I even stepped foot in this place. So I arrive at 4 in the morning with Boots. We unload the truck, right? I have a fridge. I have my bed, heavy shit, right? My dresser. It's just me and her unloading. My back was killing me. We hadn't slept. We hadn't ate. We were just running on fumes at that point. Unload, head back to Bakersfield. Half asleep. We're switching off because we're both tired as hell. We cannot, it was hard to stay awake. And when I get back, I'm realizing it's already I think it was 7, or maybe it was a little past 8. I was supposed to be at work at 8 a.m. I was supposed to go in for a 4-hour shift. I called my peers and I was like, ain't no way, bruh. Ain't no way. I was like, there's no way I can make it. This is what happened. They're like, oh my God, okay. I was like, at some point I'm going to stop by and drop off my keys. I go drop off my keys, and everything was so fast, right? That I was just like, I didn't even have time to process. This is going to be the last moment that I more than likely see these people, because I really had no reason to be in Bakersfield. And so, obviously there's social media, and yes, we keep in touch like that, but it's just not the same. You see these people every single day. I go drop off my keys. I get in the car. It was a very split moment. I get in the car and I'm driving away. And in that moment, I realize, oh my God, I'm never going to see these people again. This is it. I'm never clocking in here. I'm never going to more than likely talk to these people on a day-to-day basis like that. And this shit is really it's real, right? This whole time leading up to this point, I was on one. I was survival mode. I was like, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, gotta do that. It was just so quick. And then by this time, my mom had showed up with my stepdad with a trailer, because the garage gym did not all the equipment fit in the U-Haul. So my mom shows up with my stepdad, bless her heart. Now it's my mom, my poor stepdad, Boots, and me loading the gym equipment, the heaviest shit, into the trailer. My mom's helping me clean the house after that. My stepdad's helping me get all the stuff just tidied up. And Boots is finishing off whatever we missed or whatever that's going into her truck and my car, because we were both going to obviously drive down. Then, whatever, I ended up getting out just in time. We finished just in time, vacuum, sweep, whatever. Like everything was done just in time. Head back down, and I believe I get stuck in traffic. I get stuck in traffic in Orange County, and my mom my stepdad and my mom were like, we're tired. We're just gonna take the gym equipment to our place. They live in Marietta. And we'll drop it off whenever you're all settled in, because the garage was just full of my shit. Like nothing had been unpacked. I literally dropped everything off and went back to Bakersfield just to come right back down. Anyway, I come back home and I immediately start unpacking because I knew that I was going to be gone for the weekend. That weekend was going to be the weekend that we celebrated a long-awaited wedding that we had all been waiting for. And it was going to be in Rosarito. Shout out to Chela and Melissa. Happy 1-year anniversary, by the way. They basically got an estate for the weekend in Rosarito. So it was already like planned out. We were going to go to this wedding. In my brain, I was like, ain't no way I'm missing this wedding. Like, I don't care what the fuck I'm going through. I'm going to go to this wedding and show up as my best self, because that's just what the fuck I do. Like, I'm going to show up for my friends, because whatever I'm going through, I know is going to be temporary, but that moment is big. And if I miss that moment, I'm never going to be able to forgive myself, right? So in my brain, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to unpack and then pack a bag for the weekend. So that's exactly what I did. Packed a bag. We went for the weekend. We partied. We celebrated. It was so beautiful. It's just like the perfect weekend to come back to. I get back home on Sunday night, and I just immediately start unpacking. Within like 3 or 4 days, the entire house was set how it's supposed to be set up. Everything was in its place. Like, it was just like a plug and play situation. And I'm just like, wow. I did not even think about like whatever I was going through until months later, right? I got into this like mode where I'm just like, I want to have a distraction, and I want it to be a healthy distraction. Mind you, we still had COVID, so we had to be safe. So the best thing I thought I could do for myself is just focus on just working out. So that's exactly what we did for the first 2 months of moving in here. We worked out almost every day, early in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, and 5 to 6 people would show up and work out here because everything was shut down. And it was amazing. It was like the best thing I could have done, like, and best case scenario. Like, damn, I was really able to like jump on a routine. And this whole situation didn't even hit me until months later. I remember it was February when I finally had the breakdown of a lifetime. Probably the breakdown I would have had I let myself not go into like survival mode, months prior to that. But all that to say is like, by the time that came, I was in such a good mental headspace because I focused on just a positive habit of just like working out, and it was just like helping me get through shit. Like, yeah, I'd have moments where I would get sad, but not like that breakdown in February. That breakdown in February was like pivotal for me. It was so pivotal for me because I just let everything out. And I don't know, but maybe like some of you guys are like, okay, I'm tired of listening about this breakup, but like for me, that was like pretty traumatic. It was pretty gnarly. Like like I look back on it, and this whole episode came about because of that post, because I'm reflecting on a shitty situation that I was like thrown into. And it's just like, it's really up to you, like to really like just focus on yourself and prioritize yourself, because I promise you that when you do that, people will take a liking to you. People will like see this new aura in you where you're just like, damn, how the fuck she do all that? Like, or how's she doing all this? Like, and it's hard to believe, but like that situation really like just progressed my growth that I had already been growing on for a year. Like, I started this podcast, I might have been 2019, but I had already been working on like that internal work, like my insecurities and all that shit. Like, and so I look back on it, it's just like, sometimes we have to go through hard shit, and we have to meet people that are going to put us in shitty situations to really grow and to really become that person we're about to become. Because in that moment, I didn't know why it was happening. I didn't even care to think why it was happening, right? Like, and I think that for a lot of people, if you're not doing that internal work, or if you're not checking in with yourself and like being like, well, what's making me unhappy? Why am I feeling this way? Do I really need to project this negative energy that I'm feeling about my insecurities, my shit internally, my demons onto other people? Like, that's where you should check yourself. That's what you should prioritize yourself. Like, and that's one of the biggest things that I've learned out of this entire situation is that it was that traumatic and that pivotal for me that I feel like I need to talk about it, because I know that shit happens to people and people go through life situations. It might not always be a breakup, but for me, that was the turning point where I was like, wow, I need to pay attention to how I'm treating people. I need to pay attention to how I'm talking to myself. I need to pay attention to taking care of myself, having and building better habits. I need to pay attention to who I'm surrounding myself with. Is this person draining me when I'm around them? Like, how do I feel when I'm around people? And then it becomes to this thing where, like, now it's kind of like a fad, like, you know, talking about energies and all that stuff. But, like, it really does become this thing where you're having to protect your peace, having to protect your energy, because I think that the more that you give something their energy, whether they're good people or bad people or good situations or bad situations, the more it like builds up. And so me reflecting on this day and me looking back on that emotional roller coaster and like feeling emotional about this day, like the emotions that come, I just want you to know, it's not because I miss somebody. It's not because I want a situation back. It's not because of that. It's because I'm looking back on every little thing that I had to fucking go through to get to myself, to get to where I'm at now. Like, not every day was easy. Not every day was happy. There was moments where I was sad. Not every day was a breakdown either. But there was so much more positive that I focused on than the negative, which I had no control over that negative. And sometimes it is that. Sometimes you have to just like let things be. Accept them for what they are. Accept people for who they are. Because those people, at the end of the day, whatever situation they might have put you through, there was a lesson for you to learn. And if you don't take the time to like really pick apart whatever that situation was, you're going to continue repeating this cycle until you learn that fucking lesson. So I think because I had been doing all that internal work and like, just like, damn, I need to check myself. Like, I don't want to be an asshole to this person just because I'm feeling insecure, or project these negative thoughts onto people because I'm feeling insecure about something previous that I had gone through. Like, it's a lot of self-talk. It's a lot of working through your issues and just acknowledging that you have issues. We all have issues. We all have some kind of toxicity. It's just about being able to control the things that you can control. I can control my emotions. I can control, my thoughts. I can, and even if I can't, that's not something that's somebody else's problem. That's not something that somebody else should take on. Like, I don't want to be somebody's project. Like, I'm not anybody else's project. I'm a product of my own ideas. I'm a product of my own actions. I'm a product of myself. I would never want to give any credit to anybody for building who the fuck I am. Like, I built myself. I went through those things. I learned those lessons. And this is how I'm going to course correct and not be that person. I'm going to be the person that I would want to meet. I'm going to be the person that people want to be around. I'm going to be the person that I'm going to work so hard on myself that I'm going to be that person that, like, I just don't, like, you're just not going to have anything bad to say about me. And if you do, that reflects on you more than it does me. Like, that's just how it is. Like, when you're so sure about yourself and you get to a point where you can be so sure, because mind you, it's a work in progress, right? Like, there's moments where I'm not feeling so poppin'. There's moments where I'm not feeling like being on camera. I'm like, fuck, I look like shit. Like, and it's just like, okay, well, what can I do to fix it? Instead of just like, fuck, sometimes I have to have conversations with people to like have them be like, it's just a moment. It's just a moment that you're having, and moments are okay to have. And you're not always going to be strong, and you're not always going to be the most knowledgeable. You're not always going to feel pretty. You're not always going to be all these positive things. Sometimes you have to see the ugly. Sometimes you have to be the ugly. But in that respect, if you're going to be ugly, you have to be able to acknowledge and apologize, because we're not perfect. Shit happens. And I would only hope that if you were put in a situation where you didn't necessarily react the best, or you didn't necessarily think things through, like, you would be able to take time and reflect and be like, damn, you know what? My apologies. This is why I think I did it. And this is why I think I said the things that I said, or I used the tone that I used, like, not even thinking that it's going to make you feel a certain way. Like, you just got to be mindful of the energy that you're bringing around people, regardless of what it is. Because I'll tell you, going back to that weekend, you would have seen me at that wedding and you would have not known that I went through a breakup. Nothing. Because that is not anybody else's problem. That's my problem. Not only that, I'm not going to project negative energy that was brought onto me to project onto other people. You know what I mean? Like, no, like, that's going to stay back there. Like, that's nobody else's problem but mine. Whatever I can control, I'm going to deal with after that weekend. Me at that wedding, you would have never known I was going through whatever I was going through. And even then, sometimes you see me online, you don't see all the negative stuff. I do post about it when I am having a bad day, but I'm blessed to say that, there's more positive days than there are negative days. But when I do have days where I'm just like, damn, I don't feel like doing shit, sometimes I'll even post about it, because I'm trying to be as transparent as possible across the board with all my social media, because this is just as real as it gets. This is like real life. Shit's going to happen. And I you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to go through that specific situation again, but I know that I'm going to go through shit throughout my entire life. Like, and so as those things come, I will grow into becoming just whoever I'm supposed to be later in the future. But accept situations, accept people for who they are, for who they show you. Before I get off this episode, before I close this out, if there's anything I want you to take from this episode, my situation, what I went through and all that, this is what I want you to take with you. Don't let any person or any situation make you feel less than. You are who you need to be in every moment, and every moment is bringing you closer to who you are about to become. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm sorry they're kind of sporadic, but just know that I'm working behind the scenes on a bunch of stuff. But I wanted to make sure to touch on today and reflect on today and give something positive out into the world, because the world needs it more than we know it. There's too much negativity out there to be putting that shit out on the internet. So I love you guys. I appreciate if you took the time to listen or watch this on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Share it with a friend that you think might need it. I love you guys. Peace.
Hold up. One more thing. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dreamers Hub podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, and share with the real ones in your life. Be sure to tune in to more inspirational content next week. Peace.